What's up, gamers? So, welcome to part 2 of my armor versus health effectiveness walkthrough, I suppose. In this specific video, we're going to be looking at a different method of measuring an armor's purchases effectiveness versus a health purchases effectiveness. This time, through the medium of effective health or effective HP. Last video was about damage reduction and the effective damage that's being dealt to you, the amount of damage you feel that's being dealt to you. Today, we're going to be focusing on the other side of the coin, one might say, the effective health. How much health does it feel like you have when physical damage is dealt to you and your armor reduces it? So this is actually arguably a more easy concept to understand, though it is, I suppose it's not as in-depth and possibly accurate as damage reduction is. It is actually easier to visualize and probably better to think through in your mind. So what is effective HP? Well, this is the equation for effective HP. It's really the one that kind of defines how armor and health kind of are related. So the effective HP, or the amount of HP you think you have, to physical damage, let me clarify, because I'm using armor, this is for physical damage. You can also use this formula for magic resist and magic damage, but this is specifically for physical damage. So your effective HP is equal to 1 plus the fraction of your total, the amount of armor you have over 100, and then this whole number you multiply times your HP, or your health. So this number right here, first, I just want to get out of the way. This is what I like to call the armor multiplier. So why do I call it that? Because this is essentially, say you have 50 armor, right? 50 divided by 100 is basically 0.5. And then you add that to 1. So it's 1.5 times your actual HP. By the way, this HP right here is your nominal HP, or the amount of HP you see on your screen. This is the amount you see. The effective HP is the amount you feel you have. So the armor multiplier will effectively multiply your HP by a value, a ratio, say 1.5, and give you the amount of health you feel you have to physical damage. So this is like the key to the equation. This is where the armor comes into play. And I can demonstrate this relationship to you on a graph I made here. So if you look in the top left here, our Y value is going to be the effective HP you have. X value is going to be the amount of armor you have. And so this 10 here, this is your nominal HP in the formula. I want to clarify, basically 10 is the amount of HP you'd see on the screen. Obviously 10 HP is not a feasible number for League of Legends to have as your HP value. But in this case, I just want to use 10 because if you use like a regular number, like 1,000, the graph's going to get super big. Like look, if I do 1,000, you have to zoom. It's just like a huge number. Like it's much too big to look on a graph to see the relationship. So just for this sake, I'm going to stick with 10. And so what you can see here is we have a linear relationship with our x-axis being the amount of armor you have and our y-axis being the amount of effective HP you have. So if you use 0 armor, you have exactly 10 effective HP, which makes sense. Your nominal and effective HP will be the same because armor is not multiplying your nominal HP. Now, as we gain armor, at 1 armor, I should say. Oh yeah. Wait, let me zoom in here a little bit so I can see better. At 1 armor, you are going to have 10.1 effective health. And then at 2 armor, you're going to have 10.2. And then at 3 armor, you're going to have 10.3 effective health. I hope you can see a pattern here. Each time you increase your armor by 1, you increase your health by a set value. In this case, it is 0.1. The reason we are increasing our health by 0.1 every single time we add a point of armor is because the relationship of this formula here is that every 1 point of armor increases your effective health by 1% of your base HP, or your nominal HP. And so what this means is we have a linear relationship between the amount of armor and the amount of effective HP you have. It'll increase it by the same amount each time, that amount being 1% of your nominal HP. This of HP is not affected by your effective HP. So the 1% is the same every time. It does not increase with your increasing effective health. I want to make that clear. This is why this relationship is linear. Now, in my last video, I did talk about how increasing armor purchases can be seen as ineffective because your damage percent reduction will decrease. Your changes of that slope of that curve decreased. It was a diminishing returns curve. It's the slope flattened out. This one does not flatten out, but I just want to make sure that people know. So say we have a constant increase of each point of armor here is increasing our effective HP by 0.1, which in this case it is. A 0.1 health increase means a lot more when you have 10 HP than 1000 HP. The actual change in the HP is much more significant at 10 than 1000, and that is why effective HP has the same exact kind of situation where increasing armor purchases can be less effective to effective HP over time. And so yeah, so that's kind of the visualization of what this formula is showing us. And so I'm going to go through the same example as the last video here again. So it's basically you're a level 6 Orianna with base health, you have base armor and that stuff, and we're figuring out whether we want to buy a ruby crystal or a cloth armor. So I'm just going to write down the stats again. At level 6 we have 28.89 armor. And if we buy cloth armor, we increase it by 15 to 43.89 armor. We should also make sure we realize that base HP at this level, I'm assuming there's like there's no additional HP in the runes or in the items currently. It's just 889.45. So that is our total amount of HP, or yeah, currently. Now, this is our nominal HP. So this value is going to be this value in the formula. So base HP. So this is a great example. We know that each point of armor is going to increase our effective health by 1% of our base HP. So what's 1% of 889.45? 8.8945. So basically 8.9 health. So each point of armor is going to increase our health by exactly 8.89 health. And so basically, if you're doing an increase of 15 armor, basically you're increasing your effective HP by 8.89 times 15, because each point of armor will increase it by the same amount. So that's one way you can think about it. I actually just took the liberty of, before this video, plugging in the values of 28.89 and 43.89 into this equation, multiplying it by this base HP and figuring out what the effective HP is in both cases. And so what you get is you get that your original effective HP is 1,146.4 health. And then this increases at this point to 1,279 health. Oh, 0.8. And the thing that we need to take away from this, what we can see here, is the difference of these two values. The difference in your effective HP is only 133.4 HP. Now, why is this significant? Well, for the Orianna in this case, she's only going to be gaining 133 effective HP in this given scenario. So technically, if she had the money to buy a ruby crystal will increase her effective HP, or actually, rather, her true HP by 150. And so that technically is going to be more effective. It's about 17 or 16.6 more HP technically, as like a surface value. Now, another way we can illustrate this this concept is if the base HP of the Oriana was a different number, say a larger number, like exactly 1000, we can see a different relationship here. I also calculated these values. At 28.89 armor, the effective health with 1000 base health is 1288.9, and then with 43.89 armor at 1000 base HP, your effective health is 1438.9. And this just so happens to be the exact HP value by which a 15 armor increasing by 15 armor, will get you exactly a 150 HP change. And when you think about it, this actually makes a lot of sense. Why? 1% of 1000 is 10. Each point of armor is going to increase your effective HP by 1% of your base HP, that 1% being 10. 10 times 15 just so happens to be 150. And so that's an interesting way of thinking about this concept, is your actual base HP on the champion is more effective to changing your effective HP than your armor is, to physical damage, of course. So because basically a health increase, say you buy a ruby crystal, 1% of the 150 health on a ruby crystal is 1.5, so you're gaining 1.5 additional effective HP per point of armor you already have. So it's going to be arguably more effective because that's generally more than the flat armor purchase is going to give you, because the armor is just changing your multiplier of this value. But this value is going to, if this value gets larger than nominal HP, you're actually going to be multiplying by a larger value, hence getting this number. And so the point I really just want to get across here is that both of these different purchases need to be used in tandem to increase your effective HP by a large amount. You need to have a decent amount of both different stats in order to effectively get tanky. You know, you can't just have one, you need both, because one's the multiplier and one's what the multiplier is multiplying. And they both have to be high enough to actually survive large quantities of physical damage. One more thing I want to point out here, effective HP, the reason I said in the beginning is that this might not be as accurate is because when you look at damage percent reduction, you can look at that over time. Effective health is effectively telling you if you got basically bursted down 100 to 0, how much effective health you would have. It does not take into account regenning health or surviving poke, which you can calculate with the damage reduction. How much damage do I have to take in order to earn back a certain amount of health? This way you cannot. So this 133.4 HP might become a larger value if you take poke and then, you know, survive it and then go back in for another trade, that sort of thing. But if you get 100 to 0, a ruby crystal is better in that scenario. So I know this video kind of leaves with some questions. It's hard to know whether the armor or the health purchase is better, but I just wanted to make this part 2 so people can get a better understanding of how HP and armor work together and how they need to be, how one can be better than the other in any given situation to make you tankier to physical damage. I hope you learned something and I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching.